What's up, Nerf herders? This is Alan from OC Nerf, and today we're going to be taking a look at a blaster that was sent to me by xshot. One of their online representatives reached out to me on my channel and asked if I wanted to do a review of an upcoming blaster of theirs. In the unboxing, I went ahead and pulled this thing out, and it's a giant box from xshot. This is the brand new Turbo Advanced that will be coming out in a new color scheme along with other blasters in their line in April of 2018, so just about a month away. This is really cool of them to be able to send me a blaster that isn't even out yet, and I'm glad that they saw merit in this channel to be able to give me that opportunity, and I want to be able to do you guys a service on my channel and be able to give you guys an early review, an early look at this new color scheme of an older product of xshot's. Now this is from their xshot Excel series, so they've got the Excel series, and they have their Bug Attack series. They've got a couple more, but I'm not too familiar with all of their lines just yet. But it's not like the bazillion lines that Hasbro has with Nerf. It's a pretty big box, and it came with 96 darts. This is a 40-round drum capacity, and it came with 96 darts. That's way more than enough to fill that twice. So take note, all the other toy companies out there. That's the really cool way to do it. This also comes with the blaster itself, the shields that go around to protect the drum, though they're kind of flimsy. They're the flimsiest thing about this blaster, and this blaster is by far not flimsy. It's a damn hammer, if you think about it. It's so thick and sturdy as far as the plastic and build quality goes. And the drum itself. There's also, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. I'm also going to show you guys the other blasters that are going to be coming out as well here. So you guys can take a look at the box here and see that there are other blasters that are going to be coming out in this new white and blue color scheme, with the exception of the Regenerator, which is for some reason in the red color scheme. Not sure what that's about. In this set, I've done a review on that Reflex 6, and I've also done a review of a different version of the Vigilante, both in the Bug Attack line. But they're about the same blasters internally as those. And I enjoyed both of them if you watch those reviews. So without talking about it any further, let's go ahead and pull out the blaster and kind of take a look at some of the cool things that it's got going on.
Turbo Advance is a blaster that was released in 2017 and was the successor of a former Turbo Fire blaster that was released in 2011. The Turbo Fire blaster came with 20 rounds in its similar drum. It had a lot of similar features, except it also included a stock, but it was also pump action to use. This blaster, in comparison with the 2017 line, is coming out in the new colors for xshot, which is the white and dark blue variant with a translucent blue drum. The color variant is pretty much the only difference between the 2018 version of this blaster and the 2017 version of this blaster. As far as performance, both claim ranges of 80 feet or 24 meters, and both come with a capacity of 40 rounds, and both came with a lot of extra darts for reloading. I believe in the package from the 2017 version, it also came with 96 darts, which is more than enough to load up your blaster twice. There's also another version of this packaging that came out last year with, I believe, enough darts to load up your blaster 3 times or more. The front of this blaster has a rather interesting muzzle. It's not your typical round muzzle, but it is actually an oval muzzle, and that's because it has to fire both the outer and inner darts, so it's got to be able to account for that. Speaking of the drum, we can take a look at the drum here and see that there's 2 rings as opposed to the single ring that is normally found on drums, like the predecessor Turbo Fire, and also other competitor ones like the Magnum, which is a 40-round capacity but a single round drum, so it's much larger, much wider profile. This has 2 rows of darts. Now these are excellent looking darts in the dark gray and the blue variant color as well. These are your similar xshot darts that you've seen in the past. One thing to note about the XL series of xshot from last year is that they actually made their blasters compatible with Nerf Elite darts and other similar dart brands. What they've actually done is not change necessarily the foam quality, but rather the blasters themselves. In previous iterations of the XL, you couldn't use Nerf darts because they were too long to use in the blaster, but they've added a gap in the drum here to be able to use any kind of darts you really want to use. So that's kind of a nice little plus. Now, how to install the drum is actually fairly simple, but there's a couple of things that you gotta pay attention to. That little knob right there just goes ahead and moves backwards and forwards with a push of that button, and it does lock into place. There is a square on the back of the drum, and you can kind of see that there's a star-shaped pattern on the back end as well that it fits into. You just have to make sure to fit it in there and kind of twist it a little bit so that it slides right into place and it is flush with the back end. Once you pull down that front locking piece, it should stay locked. Now here's something that I did a couple of times, just quick reloading, is I just put it in there barely, and it had just enough to kind of hold retention, but I didn't actually lock it into place good. There's a gap in the back, so it won't even fire correctly, and this doesn't even really lock. So it's got to be completely in there for this to be a complete seal and a locked system. So just pay attention, make sure that you not only just twist it in there and it kind of fits, but it is completely flush and locked in there. You'll see the button come up, and you'll know that you've locked it in place correctly. So just be sure to pay attention to that when you're reloading this drum. Now the ergonomics of this blaster are fairly comfortable. The handguard is a little bit cramped, but one thing to note is the angle of the hand grip really forces you to hold it in a specific way. Now I like to hold things rifle, but it doesn't really work out well for that. It actually works out better to hold it down here rather than up here in that rifle position. It really wants to shoot from the hip. Now if you're holding it one-handed and you kind of go with the angle of your hand, you'll notice the blaster will start to point upwards. Now, how the barrel switches back and forth is through this switch on the side. It rotates actually the entire plunger tube so that it's either firing from the top position or the down position. Let's take a look at some firing. Alright, this blaster fires off pretty well. Let's take a look at some of these attachment points, or could have been attachment points. Now these look to be rails that you could fit accessories to, but they don't quite work as well. Here I've got a red dot sight, and as much as I try, it just won't work. And it's not necessarily because of the rail, but more of the nubs of plastic in front and behind the rail pieces. Now I found that one of these accessories, specifically this one from the Stormtrooper blaster, actually does fit if you force it in just a little bit. But once it is on there, it's on there pretty tightly and it won't come off. You can just kind of pop it off by moving it off to the side, but it really wants to stay in there otherwise. But it's fairly easy to just kind of take off. There is a couple of things on the back and the front. They're kind of like the plastic sides, so there's front and rear sides. There's 2 posts in the back and 1 post in the front. But again, because this blaster doesn't really go well ergonomically with the rifle positioning, it really doesn't work.
So this is my final thoughts and opinion on this blaster, just a quick short pro-con list. So pros, this is one of the most solid blasters I've ever felt. This plastic quality and material is really sturdy. The ribbing inside must be super well done. It doesn't bow, it doesn't bend, it doesn't flex. You're gonna feel high quality plastic when you hold this blaster. I also really love the deco. The deco and the aesthetics has been really good with xshot and their previous blasters that I've reviewed, and it falls true for this as well. It's amazing. There's textures, there's all these different things just in the molding of the plastic. Just a lot going on for it, and the color scheme is phenomenal. It's front loading. That's the other pro I would say, is that while it doesn't take magazines for quick reloads, it is quick enough to just front load this blaster, and it really lightens your loadout. If you're not having to carry a chest rig or a belt of magazines, then all you really need for this kind of a loadout is this blaster with its high 40 round capacity and a dump pouch. That's about all you need. You might want to carry a secondary if you feel like it, but this thing is probably all you're going to need if you want to go for a really light loadout and run around really quick. Now to some of the cons. One of the cons, exactly tying into what I just said as a pro of running around really quick, is that this doesn't actually have a sling point attachment, so that you can't sling it to, at any point on the blaster and just let it drop and carry it on. The best way to do that with this blaster might be to get a carabiner, kind of clip it onto here and let that kind of hang. But that's about it. I wouldn't say that there's any place to really use that. The other thing is there's no good attachment points for like some extra things. And I say that because there could have been. Right up here there really could have been, and right here on the sides there really could have been nice places for attachments. Now if you didn't want this to be anything realistic firearms related, then I would go with like a 10mm rail attachment that looks just like this one here instead of like the more standard 20mm. Now I know that that'll reduce the amount of accessories that you can buy from like an airsoft or real steel product and throw on here, and that might be good for this to stay in that toy market realm. But there's plenty of adapters to go from 10mm to 20mm, and there's also a number of accessories like this one right here, which is directly a 10mm accessory. There's also other ones that flip-flop and can convert between a 10mm and a 20mm, like this one right here. So there's plenty of options for something like that, and I wish they kind of really took advantage of the opportunity to do that. So overall, I would definitely say that this is a good buy. This is a good purchase. The price points are going to be different for each country. Be sure to check out the link below to xshot's website so you can take a look at what the price will be of this blaster in your relative region. This will be releasing, as I've been told, in April of this year. So thank you again, xshot, for the chance of this early release. Not a lot of people actually have the new white version just yet, but I'm sure more people will have it next month. And I thank you for the opportunity to be one of the few online reviewers to have your new white version of this blaster for review, and I really appreciate that. I hope I've given you guys, my audience, my subscribers, a fair look at this blasters, both good and bad, and I want to make sure I give as unbiased an opinion as possible, even though that they did send me this blaster for free for review. So I want to make sure you guys know that. I know I said it at the beginning, but I just want to reiterate the fact that this is not a blaster I purchased, so that you can kind of assess my opinion of that with that knowledge as well. I do want to make sure that I try to be as unbiased as possible, but it's going to be a factor when you're given a blaster for free to review, or given any part for free to review. I just hope I've earned your trust as my subscribers, that I can do that for you, regardless of the fact whether somebody sends me something for free or not. That being said, I thank you guys for watching this. I truly appreciate your viewership. I love what you guys say in the comments, and I like responding to it. Keep talking to me about it. I want to do something with the comments in the future. I really want to start highlighting some of the things you guys ask and say in a future video. So be sure to drop a comment down below. And check out the description box for all the information on how to continue to support this channel or where to get the products. If you found this review helpful, be sure to share it with others and give me a like, as it really helps promote this channel. Thank you guys for watching, and Nerf on, everybody.